Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I am your host, Cristi. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, our two daughters, Tatum and Delaney, our tuxedo kitty, Lilu, and our Podango puppy, Sophie. Welcome. If you're looking for me on Ravelry, I'm Cristi-Lael, and on Instagram, I'm Cristi-Lael without the dash. We also have a Relatively Crafty podcast group on Ravelry where we have absolutely nothing because I haven't been in there in a while. But it is there. And yeah, this is a knitting podcast. Let's go ahead and get into that. I have several FOs. Oh, you can see them. Let me bring them down so I don't give anything away. I have several FOs and I also have a decent amount of whips and some stash and a giveaway and yeah, some books I like. I'll talk about things. It's been a little while since I podcast last. I think it's been just about a month, and I have to admit that my knitting mojo has been pretty low lately. Part of it I think is the weather. I always get a little less excited about knitting things in the summer because it's hot, and normally in the summer I end up knitting a lot of socks for myself in the past, but the fact of the matter is that it has been I haven't really wanted to knit a lot of socks for myself. I have a lot in my drawer, and so I don't really need a lot more socks, and yet a lot of the yarn that I have here is sock yarn that I have bought for the specific plan of knitting a pair of socks for myself. So often I'm looking at the skein, which is super beautiful, but I don't actually want to knit it unless I'm knitting it into socks for myself, so then it goes and gets set aside. But I guess I'm just blathering on. I do have some FOs, but most of them are socks. I guess that was the whole backstory to that fact. First one, let's go ahead and do that one. It is not a sock. It is a hat. It is my July Hippo for the Holidays / Yeti Hat. This is a knit along that I have been doing with for Lolo Did It. This is the third year that I've done it. The first year I did several different things. You know, I knit mostly socks, but then I knit a couple of cowls and a couple of hats and that kind of thing. Even a pair of gloves. Last year I did just socks, and this year I am doing just hats. So this is July's hat. And this is actually a conglomeration of 3 leftovers. I had, let's see, and these are all in the Yeti goes to, ... So this one is Yeti goes to the North Pole, and then for the body of the hat I alternated skeins using the helix method. I almost said Horcrux method. That would be a completely different method. I used the helix method to alternate skeins between Yeti goes to a galaxy far, far away and Yeti goes to Disney. And I really like how it turned out. These hats are really fun to make. I do 40 rows of 2x2 ribbing, and then I fold it over so that I have a double wide or double thick brim, and then I just do the hat with plain stockinette and regular boring old decreases. And so yeah, so that is the 7th hat that I have made this year. Most of these will go to my co-workers. Last year I gave them all fingerless gloves. This year I am giving them hats and something else, like I don't know, if I haven't quite decided, like maybe a candle or I don't know. Last year, a lot of people gave smelly lotions. So, and I personally can't use those kinds of, like the stuff from Bath and Body Works. Personally, can't use that stuff, so I probably won't do the smelly lotion. Something that I can get to go along with these hats. And I do have the 8th hat cast on, but I'll show that to you when I get to whips. The rest of the FOs are socks. I guess I kind of do these in order. I've been through the summer, been knitting a lot of Shorties, Rose City rollers mostly, and so I have 2 pairs of those. These both, nope, just these ones. These are from Mustache Yarns. I don't remember the name of the colorway, but I'll put it down here. They are, it was, you know, Mustache Yarns sells these partial skeins that I really like to buy when I can find them. This, I think I had like 38 grams, maybe 40 grams, and maybe more. Maybe I had more, I don't remember, but it was less than half a skein. And so I just paired it with, this is mini that I had, I don't remember what it is. And then I just did the rest of the foot. I did these toe up, so they're not actually the Rose City roller pattern, but it's basically the same idea in that I did not do ribbing. I just did stockinette and then bound off and let it roll. I did a Fish Lips Kiss Heel. This was happening when I really just wasn't feeling a lot of knitting mojo, and I couldn't be bothered to do a proper afterthought heel. I couldn't be bothered to like think about it. I took my chances with the Fish Lips Kiss Heel. I was like, well, Jeff, whatever. If it doesn't work out, and I only have, you know, I have a whole 2 rows of one color right there. I don't care. I'm just blah. I've been very blah lately. It has been a rough couple of weeks. Not rough. It's just been. I've been out of sorts, I guess. But I'll get into that later. Here it is, finished, and you can see it has some stellina in it. So, so yeah, I really like this colorway, and I really like how these socks turned out. And now the weather is starting to cool off a little bit. You can probably hear my fan that I have going because it's still not quite cool, but we're hitting where a couple of weeks ago the highs were more often in the low 90s, maybe in the high 90s. Now we're getting where most of the days are in the high 80s, and there's a 90 or 91 degree day thrown in there every once in a while, so it's not been quite so bad. I will start wearing my hand knit socks again. I just have a hard time wearing them in July because it's just too hot. And yeah, it is August 4th. Yeah, August 4th, by the way. This next pair is a partial skein that I got from Carrie at Creative Obsession when she had her shop. It is in her cushy base, which is a lovely base, and the colorway is Wham Bam 2, I think. And I made another pair of shorty socks. This one was super fun to work on. Look at how bright those colors are. And yes, as somebody pointed out, well, that has a lot of pink in it, Christy, and it does, but it has so much orange, and that just makes up the difference. As you might notice, I ran out on the second sock. So I made the toe, used some leftover Lolo Did It, one of her little Lolos that I had that just happens to correspond very nicely with this, and I used it for the toe. Normally, I would have gone back and taken out this toe because these were top down, as you can see with the heel flap and gusset. I normally would have taken out this toe and redone it with this colorway, but again, I've just been kind of blah lately, so I couldn't be bothered. And really, I don't mind that they don't match exactly. I think they look great, and I'm excited to wear them. So I'm very free with my own socks. They don't have to match. As long as they fit on my feet and keep them warm, that's all that really matters. The next, well, I've got one more pair that is for me. This is actually my most recently finished pair, although I've had them on the needles for probably the longest. These ones, for some reason, took me a lot longer to knit. This is out of Canon Hand Dyes in her Polar Opposites base, or not Polar Opposites, it's the William base, but the line is the Polar Opposites. So she does, as you can see, 150-gram skein that is a striper, and then the second 50-gram skein is the Polar Opposite. So you've got big gray stripes with thin green stripes, and here you've got thick green stripes with thin gray stripes. This colorway was called Poison Dart, and I really like how the socks turned out. They very pretty. This one especially is my favorite, of course, but I like the gray one as well. And again, you can see that I just took my chances with a Fish Lips Kiss Heel, because I couldn't be bothered to do an afterthought heel like I would normally do on a stripy pair of socks. However, it did work out nicely. I don't know if you can tell better with this sock, but I do have the green stripe there, but I started the heel on the gray stripe, and I ended the heel on the gray stripe. So this stripe right here is a little bit shorter than the rest of them, but not enough that it's really noticeable. So yeah, that is another pair finished. This is a pair that I won't be wearing for another couple of months until we start getting properly cool weather. When autumn hits, then I can start pulling out my longer hand knit socks. Right now it's cool enough to be able to wear shorties with my tennis shoes, but not the long ones. The last pair that I have to do, and my last FO, is a pair that I knit for Ron. One of the reasons why life has been a little bit more hectic, or a little bit more difficult, not hectic, because it hasn't been more busy, it's just been more difficult, is that Ron injured himself shortly after we got back from our trip to Glacier National Park. He ended up severely straining his Achilles tendon, and it made it so that he couldn't walk for several weeks. He went and saw his normal doctor, his GP, and she told him what she thought it was, and he went going off of that assumption for a little over a week and a half, and then when it got to the point where he was not able to get around and was having to work from home every day, he broke down and went to the podiatrist, and come to find out that he had strained his Achilles tendon. He now has Achilles tendonitis, and the podiatrist gave him a walking boot, a walking cast, and put him on a cane, and gave him a prescription for physical therapy for a month, twice a week. That seemed to make a difference, and he's in his third week of physical therapy and is just now getting to the point where he can walk with the boot almost without limping. Around the house, he doesn't use the cane anymore, but he still has a significant amount of pain, and there's a loss of range of motion that is causing some serious issues. Or it is getting better, but but it was causing some serious issues. So all that to say, he has been wearing a single hand knit sock for the past several weeks because his Achilles tendon is real tender, and he couldn't wear his commercial socks. They squeeze his ankle too much, and it was causing him a lot of pain. And so he's been wearing his hand knit socks on that one foot, and underneath the walking boot. And so he's come to one, really appreciate how nice hand knit socks feel, and two, realize that he doesn't have enough pairs. He has, I think, 6 pairs, but he's put in an official request for some more. So I knit him another pair, and he will be excited to have these go into the rotation. I've had them finished now for a little over a week, and I know that he is keen to be able to wear them. Here they are. This is Peyton's Croy, which is a thicker, it's almost sport weight, it really is. The colorway is Landscape Stripes, which is, I thought it had a color number, I guess not. Landscape Stripes, and here it is on one sock. I had 2 50-gram balls, and I used almost the entirety of each one on a single sock for Ron. He wears a men's 10.5 shoe, and then he really likes his legs very long. So yeah, I did not have enough yarn to make sure that the socks matched, but he said that wasn't going to be a problem. So they're just off a little bit. Yeah, just a couple of rows, really, not too badly. And he doesn't mind. And again, just did the fish lips kiss heel and let the chips fall where they, or the stripes fall where they may, really. So these were done toe up. They worked up really quickly because the yarn is so thick. I still knit them on a US 1, which is what I knit all my socks on, but the fabric is very dense, and these will be nice, warm, lush socks. I will say that I didn't really enjoy knitting with the Croy. I don't mind commercial sock yarn, but this is, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that part of it has to do with the fact that I'm not a big fan of this colorway, but I also really dislike these splotches of color out of place that bothers me. So I don't know. I don't know that I'll knit Croy again. I think that I have found that I enjoy knitting Regia, and I enjoy knitting Opal, and I really enjoy knitting Grundle, so Grundle hot socks. So I think there's plenty of commercial yarns that I enjoy knitting, so I'm not going to bother with the ones that I don't. So yeah, there you go. I know that this is really not a very entertaining podcast today. I'm sorry. I am just having a hard time getting my energy levels up. I apologize, guys. But I didn't want to have to wait to have this stuff be shown. I wanted to show you guys what I've done, and I was going to podcast yesterday. Yesterday was Saturday, but I had even less energy and enthusiasm for it. So I just, well, today's the last day before a whole other week will have to go by, and I just want to get to show you guys these things. Okay, so that is all of my, and you know what, honestly, I know you guys, you're fine. You totally can understand that life hits you hard sometimes, and I know that none of you are being judgmental on me and thinking that I'm just failing at this. So I appreciate all your love in advance. And if you do, if you are offended by the fact that I am not bringing it with all of my gusto that I normally do, then just just keep it to yourself, okay? Okay, so that's all my FOs. Let's go ahead and get into some whips. As I said, I have a few. Part of that is because Friday I realized that I wanted to podcast, and that all I had to show was one hat, a bunch of socks, and as FOs, and then my only whips were 2 pairs of socks. And I was like, well, that's just pathetic. Let's try to get some other things on the needles. So I took some time yesterday, and I kind of went through some of my stuff and reorganized a few things in here, and that helped. And then I looked at some of the things that I had been wanting to knit, and got the stuff ready for it, and that helped, because a lot of it was just finishing up a pair of socks and then going, well, I'm tired, I'm ready for bed, but I gotta have something to take with me to work tomorrow to knit on my lunch for those 10 minutes that I get to knit. So I guess I will just grab that that's already wound and can go, and let's just do that. And then I knit that for a while, and then I'm finished with it, and oh man, I'm still tired, and I still don't have the energy to fuss with picking out something proper. So let's just grab that that's already wound. That is really the reason why these got picked, and the reason why this yarn got picked, because they were already wound. Peyton's comes in, it's already in its balls, and then these, Amy, who dyes for Canon Hand Dyes, she, these polar opposites, she cakes them up first, and you get them in their cakes. So, yeah. No! That's a complete lie. I did have to wind these. It is her gradients that she cakes up. So I had to wind these, so never mind. All of that I just said is all lies. I apologize. Anyway, so all that to say, Friday I started, Friday and yesterday I worked on casting on some other things and getting going on some better projects to show. I do have 2 socks, as I mentioned. This one is another pair that I am knitting for Ron. This is the yarn in the skein. The yarn name is Trekking XL. This is another commercial dyed yarn, and I looked at this and I assumed it striped. You would assume it's stripes, right? It looks like a striper, doesn't it? Yeah. The colorway is 515, which is super descriptive. It does not stripe. It does a spiral pull. So there you go. This is the first sock. As I said, I'm knitting these for Ron. I don't mind the spiral pulling. He doesn't mind the spiral pulling. I was just surprised, because I have looked at this for a while now. I've had this in my stash for a while and assumed it was a striper, but it is not. The other skein of Trekking XL that I have in my stash that looks exactly like this is a striper. I looked up the colorway in the projects for the yarn page, and yeah, it does stripe, so it's weird. Anyway, I am about halfway through, a little over halfway through the first foot. I will be doing a fish lips kiss heel, keeping these super simple. These actually will not be worked on very fast. These are the ones that I'm kind of taking with me to work on for those 10 minutes during my lunch break. So I won't get very far, especially because I have other things now that I am more excited to knit on here at the house. And that is in my grazing sheep bag that my aunt made for me. My aunt, by the way, is now living in Colorado. She is just about 20 minutes away from my house, and I have put in a request for some more bags. She just sent me a picture of them finished. I'm very excited. They're all these drawstring type bags, which are perfect for a sock sack. And she puts a lobster clip and rings on the sides so that they can hold all of my light bulb stitch markers, and I can attach it to the carabiner that I have attached to my purse, because I have a crossbody purse, and I like to have my knitting bag attached to it so I can knit on the go whenever I need to. The other sock project that I have on the needles is actually some Christmas socks. When I was sitting there thinking, what am I gonna do? I don't really want to knit anything, but I should knit some socks. And so I was like, well, you know, I do need to get started on those Christmas socks. If you are new to the podcast, I want to make myself 31 pairs of Christmas socks that I can wear every day of the month of December. Anyway, so I decided to go ahead and get started on that. I have, I don't know, like 15, 17 skeins worth of Christmas yarn with which to make these socks, so I figured, oh, why don't I go ahead and get started? So I grabbed an already skeined, already caked skein, and I started the first sock. This is Unique sock, which came in this box, and this is their special Christmas limited edition. It looks like that, knit up, and it came in 2 bowls, 2 cakes. It's a 75-25 merino blend, and each cake is 50 grams, and so they came like this. And yeah, I have started on the first sock, and I've made some decent. Oh, you know what? I can even put this on a blocker. Hang on. Oops, I have made some decent progress. I'm probably 3/4 of the way through the sock. I've, as you can see, finished the foot. I did a fish lips kiss heel willy-nilly, like I have been prone to do lately. It worked out perfectly, as you can see, though, with half the heel taking up the green stripe and half the heel taking up the red stripe, so that I got right back into the green when it was time to start going around the foot again. And yeah, there is, don't know if you can see really, you can tell, but there is a gradation in the greens. Maybe a little bit in the reds as well, but definitely in the greens. It is getting lighter up here, and it's going to go back into the dark here pretty soon. Now I have 50 grams. This is what I have left of the first skein, the first cake. 50 grams. I'm thinking about knitting until I run out of yarn, which would make higher socks. Normally I would add, I don't know, another couple of stripes and then start the ribbing on these, but I'm wondering if it wouldn't be fun to have almost knee socks. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how I feel. We'll see how life is. So yeah, that is what I've got going so far. I think it's working out nicely. I have to admit, I don't like this yarn base. I love the dye job, but the yarn base is kind of irritating. It's splitty, and I don't like it very much, but it's okay. The fabric that it's making is very nice, but it's, I found myself splitting the yarn all too often, and that's kind of obnoxious. So that is all of the sock projects that I have going. I have a hat. I have my August Hippo for the Holidays hat on the needles and making good progress on. I have done this one a little bit different than the others. I don't know if you can tell, but there is mohair in there. There's mohair in there. So this is this is Yeti Goes to Lollybrock, which I think is an Outlander reference. And this is in the Simple DK. So I had been knitting the hats out of her Simple Worsted and had a very set recipe for those, which worked out perfectly because then there was no pooling with the speckles, and I was really enjoying making them. However, if you recall, last month I got halfway through the Hippo for the Hippo for Baby Red, and realized that that one was DK and not worsted, because that was one that I was working on while on our camping trip, and I hadn't paid attention. I just grabbed it for the camping trip. And when I went to try to, after already having done the brim, I tried to make it so that the speckles wouldn't pool for the body of the hat, and ended up having to increase to a ridiculous amount. I had to add an extra 20 stitches or something like that. It was ridiculous. So I was kind of hesitant, and one of the reasons why I used 3 leftovers for the hat for July is because I just didn't have the energy to try to figure out how to make the DK work with the hat, and make sure that I had the right needle size, the right stitch number for it to fit properly, and then not have the pooling on the speckling, which is the big problem. I can have the right needle size and make sure that I can make the hat fit, but I really didn't want any pooling on the body of the hat. So I decided that instead of trying to figure out how to make it all work for a DK weight yarn, I was just going to add mohair and knit it as if it was a worsted weight yarn. That is how lazy I have become. So I went to my yarn shop, which is Colorful Yarns in Centennial. I grabbed a skein of Rowan Kid Silk Haze, which complemented the Yeti Goes To, and started knitting. And I don't know how well you guys are seeing that fuzz, but it has a beautiful halo, and it is super soft now. It feels like petting a puppy, really, and I am really enjoying it. I think it looks great. I'm getting mohair on everything, but I do really like the way that it is looking, and I think that it is going to be a very nice, soft, warm hat. And I'm going to continue doing this for the rest of the year, is for the DK yarns that I have. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So these are the rest of them will have the mohair along with them. Probably the same color mohair, because I think it'll complement both the Yeti and the Hippo. It's a kind of a purple leaning gray, which works really nicely with both colors, both the gray set gray base of Hippo Goes To and the brownish leaning gray of Yeti Goes To. Hippo for the holidays and Yeti Goes To. The colorway for the Rowan, by the way, is 589. And yeah, so I have finished the brim. This was just this morning. This was twice as long. I have folded it in half and knit it together to make it a double thick brim, and now I am just going to finish the body of the hat and do the decreases, so I'm over halfway done. Last year I gave the hat the fingerless gloves. I didn't pick ones for certain people, but I just kind of like put them in boxes and I let people pick the gift boxes. This year I think I'm going to leave the hats open so everybody can see and they can pick which hat they want, because I want to make sure that it's going to be, if somebody's allergic to mohair, I don't want them to end up getting a hat with mohair, or if they really don't like a specific color, I don't want them to get the one that has that color in it. My last strip is actually a garment. You guys might remember the Scrappy Hippo sweater that I have been working on for the past 85 years. That has been put on hold for a while now. It's just simply too hot to work on it, and even if I was working on it in my nicely air-conditioned house, I have no interest in wearing it, because it's, it's still 88 degrees outside. So I realized that I have yarn in my stash that is meant to be made into summer garments, and so I decided to go ahead and cast one on. This is the Breezy Summer Tee. It's just a very basic lace tee, meant to be knit with the original yarn they used was Berger de France Ecotone, which I'm assuming probably has cotton in it. But it says to use with any lightweight DK with a bit of drape. I am using Fibra Natural Unity Beyond, which is 36% wool, 28% cotton, 18% linen, and 18% bamboo. It's like got everything in there. And the colorway is 205, which is Coral Wash. And I just really like the colors. I love coral. It's an orange leaning pink, so I guess pink leaning orange. I'm not really sure. I got mohair. Anyway, and it's a DK weight yarn, and I have 4 skeins of it, which is just about 1,000 yards, which should be enough to make this tee. So I have started it, and I was making good progress on it, but I kind of got derailed a little bit by the hat. I worked on that a lot more yesterday. But here is what I've got so far. Let's see if you can. There you go. So yeah, you can see that the yarn is kind of striping a little bit. And it's a very simple, basic lace pattern that is easy to memorize and easy to do. And you know, this yarn is a little boucle-y, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's all right. It's just the thick, thin thing that kind of irritates me. But the fabric is nice enough, and I know that I will wear this often enough. Oops, that's the wrong side. I will wear this often enough when it's done. Sorry. So yeah, enjoying it. Oh, drop some stitches. Hang on. So yeah, that is the garment that I am trying to make some progress on. This pattern is easy. There's not a lot to it, and there are only 2 projects. Mine and one of the gals at my knit night, who is the one that I saw knitting this first, and I thought, well, that looks like fun. I can knit that, and so yeah, check it out, because it's a fairly cheap pattern. I think it's $3, and it's a good, easy pattern. I say that now, I haven't gotten very far. I'm only 2 inches in, so what do I know? But yeah. And then I was going to get these started, but I had some problems with my printer yesterday, and so I didn't get them cast on. But I am also going to start working on the Opportunity 3 by Kate Atherley. Yeah, Atherley. There are 3 cowls. This is Opportunity Straightforward, this is Opportunity Slanted, and this is Opportunity Crossed. And there are 3 brioche cowls that she has designed and is selling. I think she sells them separately and together. I bought them together, obviously. And I am going to make them for my dad, my uncle, and my husband for Christmas. Well, not for Christmas, for winter. Dad asked for one of those neck things at the end of last winter, and so I figured this way he can use it. These are all kind of closer fitting cowls, so they will go well underneath a coat and on those really cold, chilly days when you're out in the wind. And so I am using Plymouth yarn, because I didn't want to spend too much money on it, and it had to be something soft enough. So this is Plymouth Encore. Sorry, the dog got to the tag. So Plymouth Encore, and it's tweed. See tweed on it? It's 75% acrylic and 22% wool, and 3% something else. Nylon, maybe? All the other tags got destroyed. The dog got to this yarn right after I bought it. She didn't break any of it, but she destroyed all the tags. So I have this nice charcoal gray, almost black color. I have this oatmeal color, and then I have this pretty red. So one of the cowls will be the red and the oatmeal, one of the cowls will be the charcoal and the oatmeal, and then one of the cowls will be the red and the charcoal. And yeah, basically using half a skein for each of the cowls. So that will be something that I will be casting on soon and get started on. As I said, my printer was down yesterday, so I couldn't get started, but I've now got them printed, and I'm ready to go. So hopefully the next time I podcast, you will see those done. Okay, that is all of my whips and my FOs. I have some fun things to show you. I'm gonna save that for last. Let's talk about my yarn haul. I got my June color of the month club skein from Knitterly Things. It is Mud Pie with a chocolate sparkle mini. There's a great brown base. Brown, the color of the month is where she takes one main color and then makes a striper out of it, and so this is brown. And I love brown, so I'm very excited about this one. I will say, however, that in the past she has had them wrapped up in some tissue paper of the color of the skein, of the month. So like the red one was wrapped in red tissue paper. This one was wrapped in black tissue paper, and I was like, oh no, there's a black one. I didn't think that there would be a black one, but it makes sense that there would be a black one. What am I going to do with the black one? Because as we know, I don't like black. I actively dislike black, but it was brown, so that worked out well. That does mean probably that there might be a black one, and that's okay. I will maybe use it as a giveaway, or make it into socks for somebody that I love. And let's see, I got some more mustache yarn. I really like her base, and I really like the colorways that she has been coming out with lately. This is the Woodstock 50. She's doing like a summer concert series, and I could not say no to those colors. Look at how beautiful that is. And this is her not perfect, that's Regia. This is her perfect self-striping sock set. So there are two exactly matching 50-gram skeins in here. Yes. Which help you to make the socks match exactly. I kind of like that she does that, really. And then this is the other one. This is part of her Great Reads collection. This is Mordor Fun Run, which is, of course, the Lord of the Rings, and beautiful. Just beautiful. So, yeah. Those will be knit into socks for me eventually. And then lastly, my yarn shop does, they contract indie dyers, local indie dyers, to do, they have a table that's a color of the month, and there is often a specially dyed skein for that month. This is the one from July, and yeah, I loved it. So it's got this beautiful red base, and then there's like fireworky type to kind of match with Independence and Independence Day and United States and July and whatnot. So this is called Colorful July by Chasing Rabbits Fiber Arts, which is she's a wonderful dyer here in Colorado. And that is all that I have added to my stash that I have purchased. I want to say first that the gal who won the prize packet last week, or last podcast for the 3,000 subscriber giveaway, has not contacted me yet, and it's been a month, so I'm gonna go ahead and say, in an effort to keep this easy, the first comment on this video will win this packet. So you make the first comment, it's yours. If you are in the United States, that's great. If you are in another country, that's great as well. It's open to anybody. Just make the first comment, and you will know if you are the first comment because there will be no other comments below. So yeah, just if you've managed to make the first comment on this video and you see that there are no other comments, then please contact me on Ravelry with your address and I will get this shipped out. I'm kind of bummed out that the person who won it didn't contact me. I'm hoping that it's just because she didn't see the video and not because she was like, I don't want her stupid shawl. So anyway, yeah, just there you go. That makes it easy. And the reason why I want to do that easy is because I have another giveaway to give away. I have a friend, Aptly Juice, who is, she's Aptly Juice on Ravelry. She has been perfecting her circular sock machine knitting, and she's fantastic. So I commissioned her to knit me, to crank me some tubes so that I could make, like I did in January at Christmas time. I commissioned some tubes from an Etsy shop and then put heels, toes, and cuffs and gave them to my mom for Christmas in January because I was late. Anyway, I commissioned Aptly Juice to do the same thing, and she did a better job. So I will be commissioning her to do this more often, and I wanted to show them to you guys because it's so well done. The tension is more to my tension. If you guys recall, I had two complaints about the ones that I cranked before. The tension was looser, so the gauge was looser, and I didn't quite like that. Plus, I guess this is a common thing for sock machines. They crank the opposite way than we knit. So it's, instead of going around this way, it's going around this way, if that makes sense. So she managed to flip it so that I can knit straight off of these instead of having it go the opposite way. So this is the first one that she did. This is Rockin' String Creations, and the colorway is Good Vibrations. The base is Jitterbug Fingering, and this actually glows in a black light. I'll see if I can post the video that Aptly Juice shared with me of her cranking it. It looked kind of cool. So I am going to make this into a pair of socks for myself and for my mom. My mom's will be longer. Mine will be whatever is left. And yeah, super excited about that. Then I had her crank this. You guys remember the skein of Lolo Did It that my uncle got me for Christmas, or for my birthday? It was in the LA woman, I want to say. I lost the tag. She was, oh, here it is. Yeah, LA lady. This is it. So originally I was going to use this to make socks for my mom and my aunt because they both would love this colorway, but that was before I had knit those socks for my aunt on our trip and have to go down so much with her stitch count. So I am going to probably turn this into a pair of socks for my mom and then for my daughter, my youngest daughter, who really likes hand knit socks. So so yeah, I love the way these knit up, really, a lot. And then lastly, she offered to make me a pair of Shorties on her circular machine. and guys, I love them. And they have been sitting for a while. I want to wear them so much, but haven't been able to because I've been waiting to podcast about them. But here they are. Look at how cute they are. So she does them with the tab, and that's what I wanted, the extra tab here. So she knit them for me on her machine. Oops, I got them all cockeyed. And I am super excited to try them out and wear them. I think they're going to be super fun. This yarn is, gosh, I've lost that tag too. Oh, here it is. This is Andre Sue Knits in the Sugar Skulls colorway. I thought that this was going to stripe, like properly stripe, but I was wrong. That's okay because it knits up pretty anyway. So she made me a pair of shorty socks, and then with what was left, she cranked it for me. So I think I might be able to get another pair of shorty socks for Delaney out of this. So yeah, that's what I did. And the reason why I mentioned, I talked about doing, making this thing go away quickly is because Appley Juice has offered to, her name is Michelle, by the way, I keep calling her. Appley Juice is just so cute. She has offered to provide cranking services for one skein for somebody on the podcast. So I'm going to have you guys comment down below. Obviously the first person that comments will win this, but everybody else comment down below, and I'll do a random number generator with my next podcast, and that person will win cranking services. And like I said, her cranking services are amazing. I highly, highly recommend it. She is supposed to get a shop together and start doing this as a little side cash. I will do some research and see if she has gotten that set up. We haven't talked in a little bit. I got these a couple of weeks ago, and so I don't know if she's gotten it set up. If it is, then I will link it down below. But yeah, I will definitely go to her for any cranking needs that I have from now on, because just very, very well done, very professional. They're all neat and even and clean and pretty, and yeah, I'm very impressed. So yeah, there you. Yes, that is all. That is all the knitting. Let's talk about reading. I have recently been finishing a lot of like rom-com books. I've been enjoying them, either rom-com or thrillers, thriller/horror. Like I recently read Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough, and I absolutely loved this thriller. I am currently reading Cross Her Heart, also by Sarah Pinborough, and so far I am liking it, although I'm only like 100 pages in. These ones I am listening to on audio. I also recently finished Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson. Jenny Lawson is a blogger. She has the what is it called? What is the name of her blog? The Blogess. The Blogess, that's right. And she is hilarious and suffers with some emotional struggles. She has, anxiety, social anxiety, and some other things, and so that helps me. She also suffers from rheumatoid arthritis, but it helps me to kind of have somebody who also kind of gets what it's like to be anxious and have no real reason why. And she's just super duper funny. So her first book was Let's Pretend This Never Happened, a mostly true memoir, which was adorable. I absolutely loved it. And then her second book, which I just finished, is called Furiously Happy, and it is focused around people who have emotional issues and just trying to get through life curiously happy. And there was several spots where I laughed really hard. I listened to this on audio. I will say that there's a lot more language in this one than there was in this one. If that is off-putting to you, then you might want to shy away. I mentioned that I've been listening to a lot of rom-coms as well. This is one of the ones that I recently finished. I also recently read the Kiss Quotient, which is the first in this companion series. This is The Bride Test by Helen Huang, and I think I liked this one better than I did the Kiss Quotient. There is supposed to be a third one. I liked the Kiss Quotient quite a lot, but this one I think I liked a little bit better. I also have been really enjoying some Cristi-Lael. Not so much their, and I say there because it's Christina something and Lauren something that come together and write under the pseudonym Cristi-Lael. But their first two series, a little bit too adult for me to really enjoy, but I do like the standalones that they've been doing, like Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I like that one quite a lot. Dating You, Hating You, I also liked quite a lot. This one I think is my favorite, though. Love in Other Words, which was really, really good. They have a book that's just come out, the Unhoneymooners, not Unhoneymooners, and I've just been really enjoying their work. Next, I am starting Shutter Island by Dennis Lehane. Ron and I have been kind of working on reading some of these books that have movie adaptations that we're interested in. So just recently we read Pet Sematary by Stephen King, and we watched the movie, the remake that came out in 2019. I will say that the movie was awful, but the book was good. And now we're reading Shutter Island. Ron just finished it yesterday. I will start it tonight, and hopefully by next weekend we can watch the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. I have heard good things about the movie, and I've heard good things about the book, so hopefully I will enjoy it. Ron is not telling me anything because he doesn't want to spoil anything, so I don't even know if he liked it. I do know that he read it in like a week and a half, which is pretty fast for him. So yeah, that is all that I'm really reading, but and that's kind of it. Like I said, I've just been kind of feeling very melancholy and blah lately. I know that part of it is the heat, and part of it is just working and then coming home and it being hot, and my kids having done nothing all day long but watch TV, and just feeling drained because it's hot outside. But yeah, I'm hoping that now that Ron is walking a little bit better, and the kids go back to school in a week, and it's going to start cooling down, that maybe some of that energy will come back and I will feel a little bit better about life in general. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I've got. I think I've been talking long enough, so I am going to go ahead and bid you adieu. So have a wonderful rest of your day, and happy knitting. Bye.